Hi, this is Grace Power, and today I just wanted to do sort of an introduction video onto why I have chosen not to vaccinate Stellar. He's 3.5 now and hasn't had any vaccinations. We also did all natural childbirth, so his birth was not interfered with from any type of medical intervention. So when it came, because we didn't have him in the hospital, and we were moving around a lot, I had gotten him into a pediatrician when he was like first born, and just said, don't want to vaccinate him this young. And then that was actually his last appointment at the pediatrician's office. So I haven't done any of what they call the wellness visits, because I don't believe in them. But he was getting to be about 1 year old, and Sean was asking, should we vaccinate Stellar? And I knew that I wanted to put it off till he was older, but it was getting to be about that time that I should look into it. And so it was a question for me. I hadn't really made up my mind to not vaccinate. And so I wanted to look into the information and also decide, if I am going to vaccinate, which ones do I want to start with, kind of what schedule I felt comfortable with for him. And so I just started studying. And it was, I was lucky that I was like a stay-at-home mom. I didn't have a lot of other things going on in my life. And he was still taking long naps during the day. So I had a lot of time to study. And I found that it was a little bit of going down a rabbit hole to a degree. There's just so much information out there these days. And I just kept studying. I found that YouTube was sort of my best area, best place to get information, because there's a lot of presentations done by doctors on there. There's a lot of just parent testimonials. There's a lot of people that have posted videos from the autism parents community. And so I just was able to get a lot of different perspectives from there. I did look at both sides. I did look at the benefits and the people that were pro-vaccination. But I found that I was leaning more towards suspicion of the CDC, of the big pharma, and just started to question the safety of the vaccines, especially the new or semi-new, the newer MMR, where they put all three in there together. That one seems to have caused a lot of more side effects than some of the earlier ones. And then of course the flu shots that they just throw into all the other shots. Those weren't around when I was younger and getting my shots. The flu shots wasn't mandatory and wasn't part of my vaccine schedule. So anyways, I just wanted to put my story out there. So if you have chosen not to vaccinate, you don't feel alone, or if you are on the fence, that you can, just be encouraged to do your own studying, and don't, I would say at this point, don't trust your doctors, because a lot of times they don't have the time like that I had to just dig in and study and study and study. A lot of times they're only presented from what the pharmaceutical companies tell them. And a lot of doctors actually know that the vaccines aren't safe, but because of their position in a hospital setting or wherever they're working, they're encouraged and they're encouraged to push vaccines on the patients, and there are penalties if they don't. They could, at the worst, lose their job, but possibly even lose their license to practice. So there's just a lot of pressure on the doctors. So I would say, don't trust your doctor. Do your own research. You are the advocate for your child. If anything does happen to them, it's really your responsibility. I hate to say that, because we've been told to just trust the doctors and do what the doctors think is right. But you have to remember that you're with your child all day, every day, or at least you have more opportunity to know your child and know their sensitivities. And, I just had a friend the other day who vaccinated her child, and she knows her child has sensitivities, digestive sensitivities, and some health challenges. And so, as the mother, and once you're educated, if you still choose to vaccinate, you are going to space out the vaccinations. But she did not know, she hadn't done her research. So the doctor gave all these vaccines to their child, and the child had a severe fever about a week later and had to be rushed into the emergency. And it was very hard to get the fever down. And now she's on antibiotics because she did have a bacterial infection. And that was, that contributed to the reaction from the vaccines, just having that high fever and all sorts of stuff. So, but as the parent, if you know what these vaccines do, you would say, okay, my child already has sensitivities. And if you did decide to get the vaccines, then just tell your doctor how you want them to be administered. Although I have heard bad stories. There's a lady on YouTube who wanted to go ahead and have her son vaccinated, but she wanted to do the homeopathic vaccination, and she had made it very clear to the doctor, and the doctor did not do that type of vaccination. And I don't know all the details of that, if it was on record or what, but he gave just the regular one, not the homeopathic one. And the child now has autism. And she saw signs right away after that vaccination. And so, it's just scary. And that's why I didn't want to do my birth in the hospital, because so many women go in and they're determined they want to do a natural birth. They want to let the natural process happen, and they get in and they're in pain and they're suffering, and the doctors say, oh, there's something wrong, we got to do a C-section. And next thing you know, they're under the knife, and all sorts of things happen. Or they say, I don't want the epidural, and then they get given the epidural, and then the epidural sometimes doesn't even work. Sometimes like half their body will go numb, and they don't even get the full the normal reaction that you're supposed to get from an epidural, the correct area to be numbed. And so it's a scary place. And when you look at the statistics of all the harm that is done from medications and vaccinations and unnatural birthing and all this kind of stuff, you just have to weigh your odds. And I just chose to go the natural way, trust nature, and at the same time do whatever I can to boost the immunity of my child. So I have given him probiotics, prebiotics, omega fatty acids. I've given him a product called Tangy Tangerine that has like all sorts of minerals and vitamins in it. I was putting that into his bottle early on. And now I incorporate silver water, which just kills a lot of bacteria and viruses. I still continue to do probiotics, especially if he seems like he's starting to come down with something, or he's been around kids that had something. I just give him some probiotic. They're little chewables that he can take. I have little gummy vitamins that have extra vitamin C and zinc in them that I give him. I can't attest that I have the best possible diet for him. I really do want to get more vegetables in his diet, and I am determined to do that, especially with it being a new year. It's sort of a New Year's resolution for me. When he was, a baby and drinking out of the bottle, I was able to put in vegetable drinks and vegetable juices into his bottle, but now he's eating more solids and not going for as much vegetables. So I'm trying to find ways to trick him into eating his vegetables, which I believe I can do, but I just have to make it so it's palpable for him. Another thing I just wanted to mention, that as far as his health, he is the most healthy child I've ever met. And not that I've met a ton, because I'm not around tons and tons of kids. But he does not have a runny nose. He doesn't have any allergies. He doesn't have any food sensitivities. He doesn't have any stomach problems, digestive problems that are so common today. I think a lot because of the vaccines. he did fine with the breast milk. I breastfed him for the first 6 months, and then he just sort of naturally weaned himself off. And his brain development seems to be plenty fine, maybe even ahead of normal. He's just happy, healthy, and so if I were you, I'd definitely do the research and make your decisions based on what you kind of feel in your gut and based on your research, and also based on your child and what you feel is best for your child. So if you have questions, comments, please be in touch with me. And I will do update videos as he gets older and as there's new information that comes to light on this. I always like to stay aware of what they're doing in the medical world with vaccines. And so even periodically, I'll just kind of check in and see what else is new, just so that I know what to expect. So I think that's all I'm going to say for today. So thank you very much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.